witness.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lychwick. You may step down, ma'am. The state may call its next witness.
Your Honor, we call Dr. Alice Wiedenhoeft.
Doctor, if you would please come up to the witness stand. When you get up to the chair, remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn by my clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. You may have a seat. And start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
My name is Alex Wiedenhoeft, A-L-E-X, last name W-I-E-D-E-N-H-O-E-F-T.
Attorney Tom Bosco.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and good afternoon, sir. Can you please tell the jury where you're employed?
I work in the Center for Wood Anatomy Research at the Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin.
And how long have you been so employed, sir?
I've actually worked there since I was a freshman in college.
And do you have a educational background that qualifies you to hold your current position, sir?
I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD, all from the Department of Botany at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I'm also an adjunct professor of botany.
And in terms of your training and or experience, do you have any specialized training or experience that qualifies you for your current position, sir?
I've had extensive coursework related to plant identification and tree identification. I give guest lectures in the tree identification course at UW-Madison. And then I do forensic work for the federal government, specifically typically pertaining to wood specimens as a part of my normal employment research.
And throughout your career, have you ever testified in court regarding any botanical findings before?
I have had, I appeared in court one time in 2020, and I've had numerous reports and evidence reports and things filed in cases, civil and criminal.
If you had to estimate, sir, about how many reports have been utilized in court proceedings that you've authored?
Oh, probably at least a dozen, maybe more, yeah.
And if you had to estimate how many times you've testified in court, not counting today, how many times would you say you've testified, sir?
Just the one time.
Okay. And you testified just a few moments ago that you're also a college professor. Is that right, sir?
I'm an adjunct associate professor in the botany department at UW-Madison.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you've actually taught the science of botany at the collegiate level before?
I give guest lectures in plant anatomy and dendrology, and then I co-teach the forensic botany course. And,
sir, have you ever been published regarding any specific botanical issues?
Yes, I have on the order of 100 scientific publications.
And are you familiar with a document, sir, that's known as a curriculum vitae, or CV for short?
Yes.
Can you please tell the jury, what is a curriculum vitae?
A CV it's basically like an academic resume on steroids. It's excruciatingly detailed, talking about professional accomplishments.
And do you regularly keep a copy of your curriculum vitae as part of your career?
Yes, that's common for scientists.
And if I was to show you a copy of your curriculum vitae here today in court, do you think you would recognize it, sir?
I presume so.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if we could just show this exhibit to the witness. It's been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 58. Are you able to see this exhibit in front of you?
I can. That is my CV.
And I'm just going to scroll down here. Just this entirety of this document is 21 pages. Is that right, sir?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, I can scroll down if it makes it easier for you, sir.
Oh, I see. Yep, there's still the page count there, yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure we go through all the pages here just to make sure that we don't miss anything here. And I've scrolled down through all 21 pages of this. Is that right, sir?
Yes,
And this is your CV?
it is.
Okay. Your Honor, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection, Mr.
No
Lychwick?
objection.
It will be received.
Doctor, as it relates to this particular case, I'd like to turn your attention to that now. Do you know a specialist by the name of Nikki Nelson?
I did meet Specialist Nelson, yes.
Can you please tell the jury how you came into contact with Specialist Nelson?
In fall of, I think it was actually Halloween Day of 2024, I was giving a guest lecture at UW-Platteville. A colleague of mine, Dr. Jana Marie Truesdell, was teaching a forensics course and asked me to give the guest lecture on forensic botany. And my understanding is that she also works part-time as a medical examiner or something to that effect, and became involved in this case just a few days after I had been there lecturing about forensic botany.
Doctor, how do you spell that name that you referenced?
Jana Marie is all one word, Janamarie, and I think her surname is Truesdell, Truesdell, but I'm not certain.
Thank you.
Okay. So was this class that you were guest lecturing at, the instructor for that class was the go-between between you and Specialist Nelson, is that right, sir?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Okay. And let me just back up and ask you this as well, Doctor. As a doctor of botany, is it fair to say that you're comfortable identifying plant life based on photographs?
Yes, within reason, yeah.
Okay. And was there a point in time in which a Specialist Nelson met with you in person?
Yes, we arranged to transfer the evidence collected at the scene that I could take it to my laboratory for analysis.
And when you met with Specialist Nelson, was that on November 8th of 2024?
Yes.
And you may have just answered my next question, but at that point, what, if anything, did Specialist Nelson give to you at that point in time, sir?
There were sealed evidence bags, brown paper bags with various, I mean, at the time I didn't know, obviously, but with material inside, including botanical material.
And before you received this botanical material from Specialist Nelson, did you know anything about this plant material?
The only thing that I knew was from a conversation with Specialist Nelson, and that indicating that it was associated with a body.
And sir, as far as the location where this plant life was specifically recovered before you received it from Specialist Nelson, had you physically ever set foot on the site of the murder, sir?
I have not.
Okay. And the vegetation that you received from Specialist Nelson, can you just tell the jury a little bit about how it was specifically packaged when you received it?
The bulk of the material was in sealed paper bags, but there were a couple items. There was one item that was in a sealed plastic jar, but it had like an SKU number on there and an evidence number for individual items that we use to track as we go through, so that we can associate whatever's found back to the correct context, I guess, in which it was collected.
Is it fair to say that each of these items of vegetation were packaged together, or were they packaged separately?
There were several individual bags, separate bags of evidence.
Okay. And then after you received these plants from Specialist Nelson, what did you do next then in order to analyze them, sir?
So to be able to, because with a case like this, you don't know what's in there. You have no idea what you're dealing with. So I started by setting up a clean area in my laboratory and then putting down a laboratory tissue, like a giant Kleenex, basically, so that I could separate out individual items, because there were little pieces of leaves and broken twigs and dirt and other detritus in there. It wasn't just like a pristine, perfect, leaf or something. And so I was able to then keep all of the material in one place and sort through and say, well, these are twigs from like broadleaf trees, and these are twigs from conifers and things like that for each separate bag of evidence.
And you might have covered this already, but just so we're clear, so after you received the bag from Specialist Nelson containing the plant life, you then transported it back to your lab. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's when you that's where you actually performed the testing on this plant life, was at your lab?
Correct.
And was that in Madison, sir?
It was.
Okay. And when you arrived at your lab in Madison with the plant life, did you physically eyeball it first, sir?
Yeah, the initial question is, what do we even have in the bag, and is there anything for me to operate on? People sometimes don't always know how to collect botanical evidence, so it's kind of it can be questionable sometimes whether things are in good condition or not, and so every time you open a bag, you don't know what you're going to get. And so it begins just with a naked eye analysis, trying to separate out into different groups.
And did you have enough where you were able to then physically test after you observed it with the naked eye?
Some of the material was testable. Some of the material were just tiny broken fragments of leaves. There's not much for me to do with that. But,
okay.
Yeah.
And did you utilize any sort of equipment then when you were testing this plant life, sir?
At various stages, I would use a magnifying glass, a hand lens that I have on me right now, and then also transmitted light microscopy. So I'd make microscope slides. Transmitted light microscopy.
Were you able to make an identification on any of the plant life, sir?
Well, one of the items in there was a seed from a catalpa, and then another item looked like was probably a decayed catalpa fruit itself.
I see. And when you use the word catalpa, is it accurate? And please help us if we're not stating this correctly. Is it accurate to call it a catalpa pod, or is it just catalpa?
The catalpa is the name of the plant, and so catalpa, it has wood, it has bark, it has leaves, it'll have flowers, it'll make fruits, and so when we're talking about the catalpa pod, that's really the fruit. It looks like kind of a dried out gray to brown long string bean. And
are they fairly common, catalpa pods?
Catalpa trees will produce them once they're of sufficient age, and an individual catalpa tree can produce quite a few, and they tend to hang on the tree. They're rather distinctive. Catalpas themselves are typically found as planted landscape trees in this part of the world, and I don't have any. I guess I don't have any expertise to say how abundant they are in the Waukesha landscape.
I see. And was there a point in time in which you informed Specialist Nelson's of your findings in terms of being a catalpa pod?
Yes.
And did you inform her of your findings on December 2nd of 2024?
That's correct.
And did you then have a conversation with her in terms of the vegetation that was located on the site where this catalpa pod was found?
Yes, because if you think about, now I just said I don't have a specific expertise in the abundance of catalpa, but maple trees, for example, are extremely common. So if we found a maple fruit, that wouldn't be all that interesting or informative. When we find a catalpa fruit, that means that we're going to be in fairly close proximity to a catalpa tree, because those fruits don't get moved around much by animals. They don't blow away in the wind. They often typically will hang on the tree on into the next growing season. So typically you would expect to find a catalpa in fairly close proximity to where you would find a catalpa fruit.
Was there a point in time, sir, in which you asked Specialist Nelson to go back to the scene where this catalpa pod was found and do something for you at that particular site, sir?
Just to see if there was, in fact, a catalpa nearby.
And do you know whether she actually did that for you, sir?
She did.
And do you know whether she later sent you some pictures of what she had located at that particular location?
That's correct. She sent me a picture of a catalpa fruit.
And if I showed you those pictures here today in court, would you recognize them, sir?
I believe so.
Okay. Madam Clerk, these exhibits have been previously received as States Exhibit 55, 56, and 57 as well. I would ask that we place these on the witness's screen as well.
Attorney Tombasco, they've already been published to the jury, so if we want
Okay, great. Yeah, then if we could publish them, that would be great as well. Doctor, this has been previously received as State's Exhibit number 56. Are you able to see that, sir?
I can.
This looks like 55.
Oh, 55, excuse me, I apologize. Do you recognize this photo that's depicted on State's Exhibit 55, sir?
Yes,
And there are a series of items that are hanging down from this tree branch. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Do you recognize those, sir?
Those are catalpa fruits.
And was this the picture that Specialist Nelson sent to you, sir?
One of them.
Okay. And again, it is your testimony that you can positively identify these as catalpa seeds?
This is the like a quintessential kind of winter silhouette of a catalpa. Yeah.
And now directing your attention to what has been previously received as State's Exhibit number 56. Is this a picture that you received from Specialist Nelson as well?
It is.
And are you able to identify the plant that is depicted in State's Exhibit number 56?
It's a catalpa fruit.
Okay, and why are you so confident, sir, that State's Exhibit 56 is a catalpa fruit?
I don't mean this to be flip because that's what catalpa fruits look like.
Not a problem, sir.
Yeah, that's and so when they mature, they crack open and there are papery little seeds inside, and you can actually see some of those here.
Okay, and then finally, turning your attention to State's Exhibit number 57, is this also a picture that you received from Specialist Nelson?
It is.
Is this a catalpa seed, sir?
This is not.
What is this vegetation that's depicted, sir?
This is a little branch with some of juniper. You can see what people call the juniper berries. They're not actually berries. They're technically little cones, but everybody calls them juniper berries. So, yeah, this is a sprig of juniper.
Did Specialist Nelson tell you the vegetation that's depicted in State's Exhibit 57? Did she tell you where she found this?
My understanding is that it was at or near the site of the body.
Okay. And again, with respect to the previous two exhibits, did Specialist Nelson tell you that those had been also received on the site where the body was discovered?
Or in the immediate vicinity thereof, yeah.
All right. Just one moment, sir. These photographs that you received from Specialist Nelson, did you receive them on December 10th of 2024?
I believe so.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lychwick, cross-examination?
No questions.
Okay, doctor, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you.
The state may call its next witness.
Your Honor, we called Detective Christopher Bloom.